Hi, everyone, and welcome today to my season 2, episode 34 of my I Love Learning podcast. My name is Dr. Gina Anderson, and I am the host of the I Love Learning podcast and the CEO of Luma Brighter Learning. Luma helps the supply chain ecosystem really save lives through our award-winning connected learning platform. If you want to find out more about Luma and my company, you can go to lumabrighterlearning.com. And I would love if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the link in the comments. And I am so excited today because my guest is not only a friend, but a former partner of Luma, but an incredible human being. I'm going to welcome Max to the stage today. Max, I'm not sure exactly how to introduce you, so I'm going to have you introduce you. Now, besides being incredible and have the biggest heart on the planet and the CEO of Workhound and founder and all that you are, I'll have you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're passionate about.
Yeah, for sure. Gina, thanks so much for having me on. I'm one of the co-founders of Workhound. I was the CEO, and we recently sold Workhound. So we joined forces with another company focused on employee engagement for frontline workers in WorkStep. So now I'm on the WorkStep team as the VP of Partnerships. So new journey for
Oh,
me, but still a lot of fun. It's the same mission of how do we create cultures of curiosity and help people love the work they do. It's just a new mission, new chapter.
I love that. When I joined the transportation industry, Max was one of the first people I met. And I mean, you were just an incredible human, and I am so glad to know you, and I'm proud of you and everything that you're doing and have done. And, today it's really interesting. So I did 75 push-ups this morning, Max, because that is the number, 75% is the number of males who committed suicide last year in Australia. I'm actually partnering with the Lemon Tree team in Australia to bring awareness to men's
Mm.
mental health. And it's incredible to have you on today because, one of the things I did when I started my podcast is I really wanted to bring awareness to struggles and how people overcome hurdles. And, it's funny. It's like you just sold a company, and I just know, like, I can only imagine, everything that goes with that. But why don't you share just with everyone? Thank you for being here and share everyone what you're passionate about. And like, we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but
Yeah.
my background is sociology. I love solving people problems, and that was a big catalyst for me starting Workhound when we did. What I saw was that people are disengaged at their jobs. Like a lot of people hate the work they do, and that shouldn't be the case if you're spending a big chunk of your life at work. And so
Yeah.
I
No
quit my
kidding.
job to start a corporate innovation consulting firm focused on how do you actually get people excited about work and create innovation internally. But I realized I was selling a vitamin and really wanted to be solving a painkiller problem. And that's
Mm.
when a mentor said, go focus on the frontline workforces. Look at the challenges in trucking with a 95% turnover rate. And I just got fascinated and sat with dispatchers, interviewed executives, rode with a truck driver across the country, and really understood there's an opportunity to create cultures of curiosity inside these companies. And it starts by listening to your workforce and giving companies the tools to understand and act on that feedback. And that's what I've been spending the last part of the decade on.
Yeah, I love that. Alyssa says hi. She's
I,
incredible. Yeah, she's in South Carolina. She works for Luma. It's interesting, Max. I actually had someone post when I announced that you were coming on my podcast. An individual asked this question, and it kind of goes along with what you're talking about. And he
mhm.
said, he wanted you to kind of discuss some of the challenges that come with entrepreneurship and how that affects your passion for work. Is there something with
the
that? Like, you think about entrepreneurship, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting question. What do you think?
I think with first off, everyone should go on an entrepreneurial journey in some form or fashion. To not do that is a mistake in life. But I think there is the first hurdle that has to be overcome is this fear of it not working out. And
Mm,
I know we're gonna talk about learning throughout today, but like in entrepreneurship is one of the greatest learning experiences you can sign up for. And so the thing I would tell the people that are saying, I have an idea or I want to get started on something, but I have this fear of failure, it's not
Mhm.
failure. Like it's learning to get started on the next thing. Like the first company I started evolved into what led to Workhound, which led to Workhound getting acquired. It was a gradual process. And so the mentality that I told myself when I started was, what is the worst thing that happened? What is the back against the wall situation for me?
Mm.
And I really thought about it. I was like, the worst thing that happens is I go work at the company that my mom works at. Like that's the
Mhm.
worst thing that happens to me if this doesn't work out. That's not that bad. So why not go for it? And so
Mhm.
that's the thing I would encourage people to do is think about what is your back against the wall situation. And I'd say for 95% of people, it's not that bad. Go
Right.
for it.
What's gonna happen? You lose your job, but you could lose your job. You could lose your job or any
Mm-hmm.
day. I mean, people work for large companies. Like, look at all the layoffs that happened, just recently at Google or Microsoft or any large company,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's never a guarantee. You can guarantee your moment in that day and where you are. I mean, that's really the only guarantee. Has there been hurdles, Max, in your journey towards your passion that you've had to overcome? And are there any ideas you could provide for overcoming hurdles?
Well, running a business, there's nothing but hurdles and roadblocks. So, like that's just the reality. I learned there's never a 100% day in business. If you have an 80% day, that's a really great day.
Mhm.
But without fail, something is going to go wrong every single day, and you just have to accept that.
Mhm.
But as far as specific hurdles, I think back to COVID because that was a very
Mhm.
scary moment where the team is nervous, everyone's nervous, everyone's uncertain, and we all developed a playbook of how do you operate in this broad world of uncertainty and create some level of certainty. And it really it just created this playbook of you have to continue to communicate with people, good, bad, or ugly. Even if you don't have an update, just share. Don't have an update, and you have to get to the core of we just got to take care of people and be good humans. And so the end result of that is that yes, that was a major hurdle and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of anxiety. But the end result was that we had a closer team, we had a better performing business, and we had a better blueprint of how can we be good humans and better communicators through those choppy moments.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the quote. I love you saying be good humans. I mean, I'm going to put that up. That's a great thing because honestly, how many times it doesn't take much to be a good human. I mean, it's like, but sometimes people have struggles with that. So I love that advice. We should all be good humans. Is this something you learned, Max? What's like a foundational thing that you learned that has helped you continue to move forward towards your journey? Because learning is the seed of life, right?
Yeah. I mean, certainly, like if I'm learning, I'm intrigued and I'll keep taking on the next thing. Like for example, I joined a new company. I'm learning how this company's approaching things but it's still the same mission. So I'm learning a ton from their leadership team, from the rest of the company, from their systems and processes. So I'm really enjoying that experience. But I'd say the key thing that has been instrumental for me in pushing forward is honestly stubbornness. Like I really
Mm.
believe the entrepreneurial formula is pain plus passion plus persistence equals payoff,
Mm.
and so you just have to be a little relentless to keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one time I had dinner with you, Max, and you mentioned how you have a guy tribe. Like you go out and you get
Mm,
together with guys, like, because men, like I just posted this morning. Men don't share like they're having a struggle. Like you're running a company. I mean, it's incredibly, there's a lot of things that go on that you need support. You can't do it alone. And you
uh,
mentioned that you had, a tight group of people or men around you get together with.
mhm.
And isn't that, I mean, can you share like why that's important? I mean, whether you're a man or a woman or not, but
Yeah.
why that's so important when you're going through something like this?
For sure. Well, first off, like you are calling out a key issue. Like adult male loneliness is a major issue. Adult loneliness is an issue in itself, but adult male loneliness is one that is near and dear to my heart because it's real and it goes unspoken because folks don't know how to talk about it. In where we're both in the software world, we talk a lot about tech stacks.
Mm,
What I think doesn't get talked about is what is an individual support stack.
mm,
And so several years into my journey, I realized I have to be very intentional about what my support stack is. So, I had a leadership coach, I had advisors that I'd work with and mentors. I had a peer group of people that were also entrepreneurs. So I could hop on a monthly call and say, hey, here's what's happening in my world. What the heck do I do? And then I had buddies that had no clue about what was happening in my work world, but just know me as a human.
right.
And, to be able to have them to either go connect on a bros weekend once or twice a year, or just pick up the phone and have a conversation, like those things are fuel for the soul.
Mm.
So, I think you really need a support stack. Everyone does.
Yeah, I like that. What's your personal support stack? I mean, you don't think about that. I mean, everyone has things they go through, whether you're running a company or working for a company. And that's why I created the compassionate care policy at Luma, because most of us are going to be taking care, we're going to be in a sandwich generation, not me because I don't have children, but you will. I mean, because you have a young
Right,
child, right? So you have to take
right.
care of your young child, and eventually you're going to probably, if you haven't already, you have to take care of your parents. I mean, I just went through that with my mom and I was a caregiver.
Mhm.
And people didn't know when I got home what I had to deal with my mom and taking care of her. And you have to show up for your team and show up. But who shows up for you? It's like your personal people, right? Your tribe.
Mhm.
And so I think that's so important. So thank you for sharing that. So what keeps you happy, Max? What keeps you going and wanting to learn and grow?
Honestly, like if I'm learning new things, I'm engaged. I'm pretty simple in that regard. So, again, like I joined this new company. I'm learning a ton. Um, I'm at an event right now and learning about new industries and just like glean from people's experiences in different fields and their journeys. Like I'm just a curious guy. Like that's always been
Hmm.
my nature. And so, if
Don't
I'm able
stop
to do
being
that, like
curious.
yeah, I think that's probably the most succinct way to say it.
Yeah, don't stop being curious. That's so important. I don't know. I just was in Charlotte. I love that airport there. They got these little white rocking chairs. Did you see those? Those are pretty cool. People are hanging out
If you
there.
could
Hmm?
if you can find an open one, there's a lot of competition for those rocking chairs.
That's right. That's right. Because people are being connected. You talk about being connected. It's so important. Those chairs, they connect people. You can start like mini discussions. I love that. You
Hmm.
I this season I really love talking about winning, because I love this
Hmm.
concept. Is like, what's winning? Like selling your business. Is that winning? Like, what does winning mean to you? I'm just so curious to hear what you say about
Yeah. Ooh, that's a big question. One of the values that carried on throughout Workhound, and I think would be one of my personal values at this point is win or learn.
Mm,
That you can, and the way I would define winning, I think would be advancing. Are we moving forward? Because like with learning, it doesn't stop. Like
mm,
winning is advancing. So how do we continue to advance ourselves, advance whatever thing we're working on, to be a better version of itself. And so if I'm
mhm.
doing that, I'm better. So if I reflect on my journey over the past 10 years from starting Workhound,
Wow.
am I a better operator? Yes. Am I going to be able to do things more efficiently because of all the things I've learned? Yes. So that in itself is winning.
I love that. I'm winning because I met you. I love that. You're such a great person. I mean, you've helped so many people and you care so much. I mean, that's the thing, I last week I had Todd Payne on my podcast, and he asked you, what role does empathy play in the workplace? Because he knew you did Workhound. So like, what role does empathy play?
It's I believe it's essential. I
Hmm.
think there are plenty. Unfortunately, there are organizations where it's not. But part of my DNA in starting the company was that you have to operate with empathy to even know that there was a problem out there. I had to go experience it before we even formed a business or wrote a line of code.
Mm,
So for me, it's so critical because I wanted to be around people that brought their whole selves to work.
mm,
And so empathy is everything to really understand people, because then they become the full self, and then you just have a much more vibrant experience at work, which is what we're all chasing anyway. So
Right.
yeah, I believe empathy is essential.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to understand and have compassion for, and that doesn't mean like there's a difference between
Hmm.
nice and kind, right? Like kindness, you
Hmm.
can give have difficult conversations with individuals and still express empathy, but still express kindness in that way because you're giving the person what they need to thrive. It's so
Yeah.
important, in building a company and building a team. This has been a really difficult few years, and one of the reasons I started this particular podcast is because I had drivers saying they were depressed. There's been
Hmm.
recently quite a few, surprisingly. I just like my niece just graduated last week and she told me 3 students from her class committed suicide. I couldn't believe it. These are like kids in high school going to graduate. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but I should believe it because we're in a time where people don't have are feeling hopeless or feeling like there's no way forward. What would you say to that person? Look, Scott says hi. He says, "Well said, Max." Scott's on this on there. He's saying, "Well said." I know Max is incredible. He's so great. Well said. Yeah. What would you say to that person? I mean, it's so hard. They should come work for you.
Yeah.
That's what they should do.
Well, the other thing is that I always believe we're working with one another, not for one another.
I like
Like that,
that.
because anybody can walk away from a job like they're not beholden to anything. But if in that situation, what I would tell someone is, you can always reinvent yourself, and I think people feel like that's impossible. But whether
Mm,
that's a different career path, a different area of interest, a different location, like there's always a different way to start again.
mm,
And so if you're feeling stuck or that you've lost your
mm,
passion, you just go find the next thing. Like banging your head against the wall perpetually won't solve the problem.
mm.
So you have to change the situation. And more often than not, like you'll find that thing that gets you excited and be able to add more to the world. And I think that's what a lot of us want at the end of the day is just to see that we made a positive impact.
Absolutely. I have this picture. I was trying you can't really see it because the sun is probably reflected, but the sun
Yeah,
is setting. It's so red. And the thing is, like, I love that picture because every day is a new day to get up and rise and make a difference, right? Like every day. I mean, you don't want to pivot from a company every day, but like every day you have the opportunity to
right.
move yourself forward. And I think that's powerful, what you said,
Hmm.
because you don't have to be stuck. You can pivot. You can make the life be what you want it to be. So I
Right.
can appreciate that. Next week I have someone who really he focuses on joy. And he probably will get
That's
loud on
awesome.
my podcast because he'll be like, Joy. He loves joy. His name is Barry. So we're gonna ask Barry Shore next week. What should we ask Barry Shore who loves joy? What should we and I will tell you, he was unable to walk. He was paralyzed. He couldn't walk, and now he walks with a cane. He walks. He feels a lot of
Oh
joy and
wow.
gratitude. So, what should we ask Barry?
I would just ask him what does it take for somebody that's been struggling to find joy to unlock it?
I love that. I love that question. I want to answer that question. Man, I love that. That's so inspiring, Max. I love that. That's great. Let's ask him. Barry, I hope you're ready next week. We're going to ask you that. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. That's going to be great. So, Max, tell us where they can learn more about work. If someone's listening today and they want to learn about your new adventure, your new company,
Yeah.
your new efforts, where can they connect and learn about you?
Yeah, so just you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to chat with anybody. But also, you can learn more about our company, workstep.com, WORKSTEP.com.
All right, let's do it. All right, Max, leave us with some inspiration to go out into this day, this Thursday junior or this Friday junior, in fact.
Yeah, I just say, like I said earlier, just approach the world, win or learn. Both are positive and keep advancing.
Awesome. Thank you, Max. Thanks for coming.